Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. Welcome to video number 1 of my new Tulip card series. Tulips are my favorite flower, and over the past couple years I've been collecting a variety of different tulip stamps, dies, stencils, pattern paper, and a few other products featuring tulips. And I thought it would be fun to do a series of videos featuring the different tulip products. And since I have been collecting the different products for the last couple years, some things may have been retired already. If they are available, I will add links in the description box below. In today's video, I'll be using a couple of new products from Spellbinders and also some of Spellbinders die sets that were released earlier this year. The first item is their new Splatter White Opaque Watercolor. I love adding a white splatter on the background, and this product works perfectly. I do want to mention, when you first open up the bottle and it looks like there's barely any paint in there, this is what it should look like. It's a very concentrated mix and you only need to add a little bit of water to use it. And I will be using that here later on in the video. I'm also using one of their new cardstock packs. This one is Meadow Collection. There are 20 sheets of 8.5 by 11 inch paper. It's 80 pounds. And there's a beautiful variety of colors. You do receive 2 of each color. The colors include light lilac, denim blue, dark teal, light teal, deep pumpkin. There's a light yellow, coral. There's 3 different pinks. We have berry pink, watermelon pink, and light pink. I'll be using 2 of the cardstock colors in my video, dark teal and light yellow. Let's go ahead and get started with the card. I have a piece of white cardstock in my Waffle Flower Mini Stencil Mat. I'll be inking the background using 2 Distress Oxide ink colors. I'll start off with Tumbled Glass, and I'm using Spellbinders large blending brushes. This is the largest blending brush I've ever used, but it's great for creating backgrounds. The next ink color is Mermaid Lagoon. I'm adding a darker blue color at the top and lightly fading to a very light blue at the bottom of the panel. Once I finish with the background, I'll set it aside to dry. Now I'll start working on the tulips. The tulip die set I'm using is from Spellbinders. It's called Tulip Trio, and this is designed by Simon Hurley. For a sentiment, I'll be adding the word hello, and this is from Spellbinders Fresh Picked Sentiments die set. Using the dark teal and the light yellow cardstock, I cut out 2 sets of tulips, and I'll be adding a little bit of ink on all of the petals. For the dark teal tulips, I'm using Catherine Pooler's Daydream ink color. On some of the petal pieces, I'm putting ink at the very top, and others I'm putting it on the bottom. There are 3 different designs of tulips, and each of the flowers have 3 layers. You could use 3 different colors of cardstock. You could use white cardstock and ink them up. I'm using the same cardstock color and just adding that little bit of ink for the shadows. I have several different tulip die sets, and every time I see a new set released, I want to buy it. I try to be good and not buy all of them, but in my tulip card series, you will see a variety of different tulip die sets. Once I finish inking the dark teal tulips, I'll place them in Spellbinders Craft Stax trays. There's the main tray and also the lid that you can use as a tray. I'll quickly wipe down my mini stencil mat and start working on the light yellow tulips. I'm using Catherine Pooler's Tiara ink color to add that little bit of shading on the yellow tulips. For the yellow tulips, I'm doing the same thing. Some of the petal pieces I'll put the ink on the top, and others I'll add the ink on the bottom. The petals that are more in the front, I'm adding the ink at the bottom, and the petals that are on the back of the tulip, I'm adding more ink at the top. Now I'll wipe down the stencil mat again. Next, I'll start working on the leaves and the stems. I will add a little bit of color on the leaves. For some of them, I'm putting the color more toward the bottom. It looks like in the middle, but I will be cutting off the bottom of most of these leaves. For other leaves, I'll add that little bit of ink on the very end. The ink color is Spruce by Catherine Pooler. I wasn't sure how many leaves I'll be using, so I did cut out quite a few. And the die set includes several different styles, plus the stems. If you haven't seen Simon Hurley's Tulip Garden collection, I highly recommend it. Lots of really fun products. There's a beautiful 3D tulip embossing folder, plus a coordinating stencil set to go with the embossing folder. I did share a video earlier this month using all of the items in the Tulip Garden collection. Once I have all of my tulip die cut pieces inked up, it's time to assemble some tulips. I'll start with the light yellow tulips. And these are really easy to layer together. There's just 3 pieces. Some of the layers do have a slight embossed area, so you can see where to add the next petal piece. Now I'll start working on the dark teal tulips. My card will be featuring 3 teal tulips and 2 yellow tulips. The tulips are just starting to bloom in Western Washington, and it makes me so happy. Every year I try to see the tulip fields in the Skagit Valley area. There are fields and fields of beautiful tulips. And as much as I love tulips, I don't know the names of all the different varieties. All of the tulips make me happy. Pink is always my favorite, but I also love the orange tulips. Orange is not my favorite color, but orange tulips are just stunning. I think it's the contrast with the green leaves and the blue skies. Although many times when I see the tulip fields, the skies are not blue, they're very cloudy. Last year it was pouring rain when I saw the tulips, but since I live in Washington, I'm used to the rain and it didn't bother me. I'm adding the sentiment hello at the top of my card. I did cut out 2 of the sentiments, glue them together just for a little extra dimension. I'll place an acrylic block on top for some added weight while the glue dries. I will be popping up some of the tulips using thin foam dimension from Spellbinders. I'll start with the largest teal tulip, put foam dimension on the back, and I almost forgot to attach the stems. Luckily I remembered before adhering it down. I'll remove the release paper, put glue on the back of the stem, and adhere the first tulip on the left-hand side. Next, I'll add the medium-sized teal tulip on the right side of the card, and for that one, I'm gluing it directly down. I placed a silicone mat underneath my card at the bottom since I'm adding glue on the back of the stems, and I'm not sure exactly how long I need it. I don't want to get any of that extra glue on my craft table. Instead, I'll get it on the silicone mat, which is just fine since it cleans up easily. And the silicone mat I'm using, I actually cut it down from the original size. I think it was 12 by 12 inches, and I cut about 1/4 of it off. The first yellow tulip I'll put on the right side, and I am popping it up with foam dimension. I'll add one of the leaves between the 2 teal tulips. Then I'll add the smaller teal tulip. And finally, the last light yellow tulip will go on the left side of the card. And I am popping that one up with foam dimension. You can see I have the stems and part of the leaves hanging off the edge. I'll flip over my card, use my scissors, and trim off the overhang. Now it's time to fill in all that area with some of the leaves. Most of the leaves, you'll only see a tiny bit of them. Some of the leaves I'll tuck behind the tulips, others I'll put in front of the tulips. I'm just trying to fill in that whole bottom area with lots of the greenery. Blue skies aren't always common in the springtime in Western Washington, but for my card, I really wanted that pretty blue sky. For my Tulip card series, I haven't decided how many videos I'll be doing. I'm hoping for at least 10. 10 is a good number, but I may do a few more or a few less. I'll be sharing the videos in April and probably also some in May. Just depends on how much time I have between my design team projects. I have just a few more leaves to attach. I need to fill in those bottom 2 corners. And I mentioned earlier I wasn't sure how many leaves I would use, and I did end up using every single one. Now I'll flip over my card, use my scissors to trim off the extra. And I am using my fingers to wipe away some of that glue, just so I'm not getting too much of it on my scissors. Now it's time to pull out the new Splatter White Opaque Watercolor. I'll open up this small jar. I have an acrylic block. I'll use a paintbrush and put just a small amount of the watercolor on the acrylic block. If you open your bottle and it looks like the watercolor has separated, just stir it gently with your paintbrush. I'll add just a tiny bit of water on the white watercolor. When I'm happy with the consistency, I'll lightly tap my paintbrush over the card, adding that fun white splatter. When you're doing this and it's not splattering, you may need to add a little extra water. And I'll just keep adding the splatter until I'm happy with the background. So there is my finished card, and I did end up making 2 using this design. Even though they're similar cards, they still have their differences. If you are interested in any of the products I used in this video, I do have links in the description box below. I know this is only the first video from my Tulip card series, but I'm already having so much fun. Tulips make me happy, so I hope you're ready to see lots and lots of Tulip cards. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.